Ladies and gentlemen, in a world filled with endless noise, constant chatter, and unceasing opinions, silence has become one of the rarest virtues. We live in an age where everyone wants to be heard, yet few are willing to listen. But true strength, true wisdom, often lies not in the noise we make, but in the silence we keep. Silence is not weakness. It is a language of power, patience, and understanding. Silence is often misunderstood as a sign of weakness or submission, but in reality, it represents an extraordinary form of strength that not everyone possesses. In moments of conflict or pressure, the ability to stay silent shows mastery over one's emotions and impulses. When people react instantly, they often speak from anger, frustration, or fear, which leads to words that cannot be taken back. However, silence allows a person to rise above the chaos, maintaining control while others lose theirs. This control over one's tongue and temperament is a rare power that separates the strong-minded from the impulsive. Furthermore, silence reflects confidence and self-assurance. Those who are truly powerful do not feel the need to constantly prove themselves through words. They understand that strength does not always need to be announced. It is felt through composure and calmness. By choosing silence, a person demonstrates that they are not easily provoked and that their value does not depend on others' approval or attention. It is in silence that one learns to stand firm, without explanation, allowing actions and presence to speak louder than any declaration. In addition, silence builds mental resilience. When an individual remains quiet in the face of criticism or misunderstanding, they develop patience and inner stability. This restraint strengthens character, teaching one to respond only when necessary and to focus energy on what truly matters. Instead of wasting time defending themselves or arguing endlessly, silent individuals channel their power inward, turning reflection into growth. The reflective in emotions, which transform into truth, which translate into joy. Over time, this mental discipline becomes a shield against negativity, making them emotionally unshakable and spiritually grounded. Lastly, silence reveals emotional maturity. It shows that a person has learned to rise above ego and embrace wisdom. When someone chooses silence over conflict, it is not because they are defeated, but because they understand that peace is more valuable than proving a point. It is through silence that we discover the depth of our own strength, an inner calm that cannot be disturbed by external noise. This quiet power transforms the way we handle life's challenges, helping us navigate the world with grace, patience, and unwavering confidence. Kamhilit is silence creates the mental space necessary for deep and meaningful thought. In a world overflowing with distractions, conversations, and constant digital noise, it becomes increasingly difficult to hear our own thoughts clearly. When we embrace silence, our minds are given the opportunity to slow down and process information more thoroughly. In those quiet moments, we can evaluate our experiences, understand our emotions, and organize our thoughts without interference. Silence acts as a mirror, reflecting our true intentions and beliefs back to us. It helps us pause before reacting, ensuring that our decisions come from wisdom rather than impulse. Moreover, silence allows creativity to flourish. Many great thinkers, inventors, and artists have found inspiration in moments of stillness. When we step away from external noise, our subconscious mind begins to connect ideas in unexpected ways, leading to innovative thoughts and fresh perspectives. The absence of sound becomes a fertile ground for imagination and insight. In silence, the mind is free to wander, explore, and discover solutions that might otherwise be drowned out by the constant buzz of activity. This is why silence is not just a lack of sound. It is a source of inspiration and enlightenment. Silence also strengthens our ability to analyze and understand complex situations. When faced with a challenge, a silent mind takes time to observe before acting. It examines different sides of a problem, weighs consequences, and foresees possible outcomes. This deliberate process leads to wiser choices and fewer regrets. People who value silence tend to approach problems with calmness and clarity, rather than confusion and haste. They recognize that every situation has layers that can only be understood when the mind is still enough to listen to what lies beneath the surface. Lastly, silence nurtures self-awareness and emotional intelligence. When we stop speaking and start listening to ourselves and our surroundings, we begin to understand our true motivations, fears, and desires. This introspection brings about personal growth and helps us align our actions with our values. The ability to think deeply and reflect silently makes a person more conscious of their inner world and more in tune with others. Through silence, we gain the power to understand not only the world around us, but also the depths of our own mind. Silence is the foundation of true listening. In most conversations, people are not really listening. They are simply waiting for their turn to speak. However, silence shifts that focus entirely. When we choose to remain silent while someone else speaks, we create space for their words to be heard fully and without interruption. This simple act shows respect and attentiveness, allowing the speaker to express themselves freely. True listening requires more than just hearing words. It involves understanding emotions, reading expressions, and sensing the unspoken. Silence enables all of this to happen, turning ordinary conversations into meaningful exchanges built on empathy and mutual respect. Furthermore, silence allows us to absorb and process information more deeply. When we are quiet, we can focus entirely on what is being said rather than preparing our response. This attentiveness helps us grasp not just the content, but also the intention behind the words. It sharpens our perception and helps us notice subtle cues, tone, pauses, and gestures that reveal what words alone cannot. Silence transforms us from passive hearers into active listeners who seek to understand rather than to reply. Over time, this skill strengthens relationships, enhances communication, and builds trust between people. Silence in listening also teaches humility. It reminds us that we do not always have to dominate a conversation or prove our knowledge. By choosing to listen more and speak less, we show that we value others' opinions and experiences. This humility opens the door to learning, because every person we encounter has something unique to teach us. Through silence, we demonstrate patience and openness, qualities that make us wiser and more compassionate. It is through silent observation that we often gain the most profound insights about human nature and the world around us. In addition, silence during listening fosters emotional connection. When someone feels genuinely heard, they feel understood and appreciated. That connection builds trust and strengthens bonds, whether in friendships, families, or professional settings. Silence communicates that we are fully present in the moment, not distracted or dismissive. It turns communication into connection and understanding into unity. The ability to listen silently and attentively is not merely a social skill, it is an act of kindness that nurtures harmony and peace in our relationships. Silence is one of the most powerful tools a leader can possess. In leadership, it is not always the loudest voice that commands respect, but the one that speaks the least and listens the most. True leaders understand that silence allows them to observe, analyze, and make decisions from a place of clarity rather than impulse. When a leader remains calm and composed in silence, they project confidence and control. Their restraint communicates authority without arrogance, showing others that leadership is not about domination, but about wisdom and understanding. The silent leader gains insight by watching and listening before acting, which often leads to more thoughtful and effective decisions. Moreover, silence gives leaders the opportunity to think strategically. In the chaos of leadership, where decisions must often be made under pressure, silence provides the space to reflect and evaluate before responding. By pausing to think rather than reacting immediately, a leader can weigh the consequences of their actions and consider the needs of everyone involved. This patience ensures that their responses are measured, rational, and just. A leader who uses silence wisely earns credibility because people recognize that their words carry depth and intention. Silence therefore becomes a symbol of thoughtfulness and mental discipline, qualities essential for strong and ethical leadership. Silence also empowers leaders to listen actively to their team. Great leadership is not about giving orders but about understanding people, their strengths, challenges, and perspectives. When leaders choose silence, they create an environment where others feel safe to speak and share ideas. This openness fosters trust and collaboration, turning silence into a bridge between authority and understanding. By valuing the voices of others, a silent leader demonstrates humility and inclusiveness. In doing so, they encourage innovation, creativity, and loyalty within their team, showing that leadership is a partnership, not a hierarchy. In addition, silence helps leaders maintain composure during conflict or crisis. A leader who can remain silent in moments of tension shows emotional intelligence and self-control. Instead of reacting to anger or chaos, they pause, observe, and respond with calm determination. This ability to stay grounded inspires confidence in others and stabilizes the environment around them. Silence allows a leader to absorb information, read emotions, and respond wisely rather than impulsively. Through silence, leaders show that real power lies not in reacting quickly, but in thinking deeply and leading with balance and integrity. Silence is one of the most effective ways to practice emotional control. When emotions run high, whether it's anger, frustration, or disappointment, silence becomes a shield that protects us from saying or doing something we might regret. In moments of tension, people often feel the urge to respond immediately, but reacting in haste usually leads to conflict and misunderstanding. Choosing silence allows emotions to settle before words are spoken. It gives the mind time to process feelings and the heart time to regain balance. This discipline shows great strength because it takes more courage to stay calm and silent than to lash out in anger. Moreover, silence helps us understand our emotions more deeply. When we refrain from speaking, we create a space for reflection, a moment to ask ourselves why we feel the way we do. This self-awareness is the foundation of emotional intelligence. Instead of letting emotions control us, we learn to observe them and respond wisely. Silence transforms impulsive energy into thoughtful insight, teaching us to differentiate between temporary feelings and lasting truths. In this stillness, we discover the power to act with purpose rather than reaction, leading to healthier relationships and greater inner peace. Silence also plays a vital role in conflict resolution. In arguments or disagreements, silence can prevent escalation by breaking the cycle of heated exchanges. When one person chooses to remain silent, the energy of the conflict begins to dissipate. It gives both sides time to reflect and cool down before continuing the conversation. This pause can transform hostility into understanding and allows logic to replace emotion. Silence becomes a language of patience and wisdom, proving that not every situation requires a verbal defense. Sometimes peace is found not in the words we speak, but in the silence we keep. In addition, silence projects emotional maturity and dignity. A person who remains composed in the face of provocation shows mastery over self. They understand that silence does not mean surrender. It means strength through restraint. Responding with calm silence rather than harsh words demonstrates control and confidence. It sends a message that one's peace of mind is more valuable than winning an argument. Over time, this practice builds a powerful reputation of grace and stability. Through silence, we learn that controlling our emotions is not about suppressing them, but about expressing them at the right time, in the right way, and with the right purpose. Silence has a language of its own, one that can express more meaning than 1,000 words ever could. There are moments in life when words fall short, when emotions are too deep, or when truth is too complex to be spoken aloud. In those moments, silence becomes the most powerful form of communication. A quiet presence can convey empathy, love, disappointment, or strength without uttering a single sound. Silence can comfort someone in pain, or express disapproval more effectively than argument. It has the power to communicate on a deeper emotional level, transcending the limitations of speech and touching the heart directly. Moreover, silence holds weight and influence in conversations. A pause after a statement can make people reflect, reconsider, or feel the gravity of what was said. It gives space for meaning to sink in and for emotions to be processed. Leaders, teachers, and even negotiators often use silence strategically to command attention and emphasize importance. When someone chooses to remain silent instead of responding hastily, it signals thoughtfulness, control, and authority. The absence of words can be louder than noise, creating an impact that resonates long after the moment has passed. Silence also serves as a response to negativity and conflict. Instead of arguing or defending oneself, remaining silent can disarm aggression and preserve dignity. It denies fuel to anger and stops unnecessary disputes from growing. Silence in such moments does not indicate weakness. It is a declaration of strength and emotional intelligence. By refusing to engage in chaos, we demonstrate that our peace cannot be disturbed by provocation. Silence protects us from the power struggle of words and keeps our integrity intact, allowing truth to reveal itself over time without our interference. In addition, silence can be an act of profound strength and wisdom in personal relationships. Sometimes, choosing silence over reaction shows maturity and deep understanding. When someone is hurt or misunderstood, silence allows space for healing and reflection. It shows that not every situation demands explanation or justification. In love, friendship, or family, silence can convey forgiveness, patience, or sorrow far better than speech. It teaches us that communication is not only about words, it is also about timing, presence, and intention. Through silence, we connect not only with others, but also with the depth of our own emotions, learning that sometimes the loudest message is the one left unspoken. Silence is the doorway through which wisdom enters. In a world overflowing with distractions, opinions, and constant chatter, silence offers the rare gift of clarity. It allows the mind to detach from the noise of daily life and focus inward, where truth and understanding reside. In moments of stillness, we begin to see things as they truly are, rather than how we perceive them under the influence of chaos. This quiet reflection cultivates awareness and insight, leading us toward wiser decisions and deeper understanding. The greatest thinkers and philosophers throughout history have valued silence, not as emptiness, but as a sacred space where wisdom is born. Furthermore, silence nurtures peace of mind by quieting internal turbulence. The act of sitting in silence, away from noise and distraction, allows the mind and heart to align. It helps us let go of unnecessary worries and focus on what truly matters. When we allow silence to fill our surroundings, our thoughts slow down, our breathing steadies, and our emotions begin to calm. The stillness reconnects us with our inner selves, helping us find balance amid life's storms. The peace found in silence is not temporary. It builds resilience, enabling us to face challenges with composure and understanding. Silence also deepens our connection with the world around us. When we observe quietly, we start noticing the subtleties of life, the rustle of leaves, the rhythm of breath, the emotions hidden in someone's eyes. These moments teach us to appreciate existence in its purest form. Silence brings mindfulness, reminding us that life is not just about constant doing, but also about being. It allows us to listen to nature, to others, and to the universe itself. In that listening, we discover harmony, humility, and gratitude, key elements of true wisdom. Silence turns ordinary experiences into profound lessons, making us more compassionate and aware. In addition, silence gives us strength against the chaos of the modern world. It becomes a sanctuary where we can retreat, reflect, and recharge. When faced with confusion or conflict, silence offers perspective. It allows us to respond thoughtfully rather than react emotionally. Through this practice, we grow wiser, calmer, and more centered. Silence transforms from mere absence of sound into a powerful spiritual force that grounds us in truth. It is through silence that we come to understand not just the world around us, but also the depths of our own soul, finding peace that words can never truly describe. In the end, silence is far more than just the absence of words. It is a presence that speaks to the soul. It teaches us patience when the world rushes us, strength when emotions challenge us, and wisdom when choices seem unclear. Through silence, we learn to listen, to think, and to grow. It becomes a sanctuary where peace is born and understanding deepens. When we embrace silence, we do not lose our voice, we discover its truest form. So let us value silence not as emptiness, but as the powerful force that shapes our thoughts, guides our actions, and strengthens our spirit.